I want to share with you what some of my Syrian friends shared with me. And they shared it, discreetly. I can't share their name out of safety.
This is all bad news, very bad news.
If that podcast will be aired with what I shared about Islam and Syria, and that was before the war, they'll kill me. That's a Syrian man who fled Syria and just arrived to Europe not long ago. Imagine that Jabhat al-Nusra, which is basically ISIS' spoiled child, will rule Syria. Imagine that those who personally threaten to kill me because I criticize their actions, question their loyalty, are the ones who will rule Syria. That's what a Syrian... Right, listen to this lady. She knows what she's talking about.
So everyone is excited and hopeful about what happened in Syria over the weekend with the toppling of Assad. But who exactly are these people who toppled him? And who is their leader? This is all bad news, very bad news. We now have a combination of al-Qaida and ISIS basically controlling a country. Here's what you need to know. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the rebel Islamic group that took over Syria and ousted Assad, are led by Abu Muhammad al-Jolani. Al-Jolani is an al-Qaida terrorist. He was the leader of al-Qaida in Iraq. In 2006, Jolani was arrested by US troops in Iraq and thrown in jail. That's where he met the head and founder of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. In 2011, al-Baghdadi sent Jolani to Syria to start Jabhat al-Nusra. In 2012, it became a formidable front. In 2013, Baghdadi cut ties with al-Qaeda and went to Syria to establish the Islamic State of Iraq and al-Sham, what is known as ISIS. ISIS...
It's like in the West, we have a similar behavior in the startup world, in the companies, in the business sector, where two business colleagues will meet, will come with an idea, let's start Facebook, then one guy will stab the other in the back and start without talking to them, and then they will hate each other, and then they will start Gemini, and they'll go different ways, come back, Microsoft is mine. In the Muslim world, the jihadist version of that, two jihadist terrorists meet in an American jail, and then they come with an idea, let's start ISIS. And then they start ISIS. And then they start having a little bit kind of different opinions about how the Muslim nation, empire should operate, how many people they should behead, should women have right or shouldn't have right? Should we throw gay people out of rooftops or should we just tie them to a car and drive them with a Toyota Corolla in the streets? And that's kind of what is happening there. And that's insane. The guy is a terrorist. And you cannot be part of ISIS and part of al-Qaeda and again ISIS, again al-Qaeda, then starting your own al-Qaeda and not be a terrorist. Just like I said in my last video, the fact that he shaved his beard does not make him less radical jihadist. Anyway, let's listen to this woman because she is just brilliant. She knows what she's talking about.
Wanted to absorb Jolani's group, but he resisted, declaring his allegiance to al-Qaeda. He did not want a global caliphate like ISIS. He just wanted an Islamic state within Syria. Al-Qaeda didn't do much to help him. So in 2016, he branched out on his own. His organization, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, had one goal: defeat Assad and topple the Syrian regime. He established within Syria a mini-state controlled by him and under Sharia law in Idlib, a city with about 5 million people. They established a civilian front called the Syrian Salvation Government. They ruled like a state. They had a prime minister and a government department. After the end of ISIS by Trump, Jolani tried to change his image as a moderate ruler who supports order. But those who lived under his rule accused him of silencing opposition, targeting journalists, and imposing harsh restrictions. He ruled like the Taliban ruled in Afghanistan. He is a dangerous militant jihadi. Jolani is not his original name. His original name is Ahmed Hussein al-Shara. He adopted the name Jolani because he wanted to show his intentions of what he wants to do, which is liberate al-Sham. Al-Sham is the Islamic name of Syria, which not only includes Syria,
all
but
around.
also Lebanon, Jordan, and Israel. So when he talks about freedom and independence for Al-Sham, he is talking about all these countries. We are looking at the reshaping of the Middle East and the shifting of powers and alliances. And yes, Iran and Russia are weakened, but the rebels.
Let's wait a second. Do you understand now why Israel have put its forces in the border? Why they basically went into Syria to capture strategic positions and make sure that they have a better grip on the border and a better view into Syria, what's happening? Because I don't trust this guy. This guy was and always was a big hater of Israel, a big hater of the Jews. His plan is to genocide basically the Jews, just like any other jihadists in the Middle East, and they want to take Israel, and that's their bigger picture. He's trying to show a different image right now. But when you have a neighbor that want to kill you, and take your family, but the only reason he doesn't do that is because you're stronger, so then he's pretending to be a friend, that's not a good neighbor. That's not someone you can trust. And Israel is not going to take that risk, especially with these guys right now all hyped up and backed up by Turkey. And they might just wake up and say, well, you know what, guys, let's go and do it October 7th. While we're at it, it's working so well for us. Let's keep the momentum. Let's shift around and run into Israel. So Israel have put its forces in the border for that reason, to make sure that we're not going to let it happen and to see what's going to come next. Are they going to stand for the word? Are they going to try to make Syria more modern and liberal and, peaceful? Or are they just going to be like any other dictatorship jihadist who toppled one government to bring a worse one? Let's continue.
Came to power because of the help of Turkey and Erdogan, who is now emerging as a new threat. Erdogan helped the rebels get this victory. Erdogan believes that he is the leader of the Sunni Muslims, and he wants to bring an end to Western civilization.
Here's one thing, a quick word about Erdogan. A quick word about Turkey. Turkey for a long time was trying to enter the EU. They were pushing for it, and they really wanted to be in. But the EU was very hesitant. Surprisingly, they had a little bit common sense then. And said, listen, man, with all due respect, we see what you're doing with the Kurdish. We see how you're treating the Syrians. We see how you're treating people in your own country. We're seeing how you're adapting radical Islam and the Muslim Brotherhood. We don't feel comfortable with that. And after a while, he got fed up and said, you know what, this is not working. I'm going to go back to what works. And he says, we are Turkey. We are the Ottoman Empire. We should be the leader of the Sunnah. We should be the leader of the Muslim Empire. And he started becoming more radical and endorsing more and more jihadist, radical Islamic views, all the way to actually endorsing and supporting October 7th, supporting Hamas. Turkey have become the only country, or the main Muslim country right now, that is allowing Hamas leadership to run and flee and hide in Turkey, because Trump came in power and now all the Muslims, radicals in the world saying, oh crap, these useful idiots government level, Obama, what's her name? Not Obama, Kamala and Biden, they're gone. We can't keep doing this, crazy things that we're doing. We don't have a free card now to just go crazy jihadists around the world while they will protect us and make us look less bad. So we need to behave. So where can we go? Turkey, come here. We'll take care of you. So that shows you where is Turkey heading, which saddens me because I have great Turkish friends that I love and I appreciate. And I wish that their country will choose a path that is less Muslim jihadist radical.
So the Islamic Empire will flourish. Turkey is a NATO nation. They are not some crazy group led by a wacko leader and no one listens to. Erdogan and Jolani, the head of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, have the same goal. Defeat Western civilization and re-establish al-Sham, the Islamic Greater Syria, which encompasses Lebanon, Jordan, and Israel. Under this new rule in Syria, the minorities will be persecuted, especially the Christians and the Kurds. Thank God we have Trump about to take office and manage America and its interest for the next 4 years.
I can't agree with her more. Thank God that Trump have been elected and he's coming to office soon. And I'm not going right now whether I like him on a personal level or not. That's not the issue here. If Biden, he's honestly don't even know where the bathroom is, but if Kamala and the Democrats, behind the scene Obama, were still in power, we would have been just spiraling down to World War III. The Middle East would have been in flames. Iran would probably get a nuclear weapon, and Russia will just keep doing what they're doing. The world needs a strong America desperately. I'm talking the good people in the world. They need that. They needed that when Nazi Germany was trying to conquer the world, and they need that now when radical jihadists and Russia and everyone, China, are going insane. Strong America is necessary, and unfortunately for the Democrats, they don't have any strong candidate, and they've been heavily affected by the woke ideology, which made them just a useful idiot on steroids. The Republicans still have some kind of a good grasp of world politics, and in the jungle, you need to abide to the rules of the jungle. You need to be able to play the rules of the jungle. And the world is a jungle. And you need to be able to be strong and perceive strong. When an animal looks strong, when someone presents strength, it ends up actually resulting in less violence because people avoid taking advantage of him. People avoid confronting him. And when America presents strength, the West, well, obviously the West, I mean, the radical Muslim world and, parts of Asia, they start saying, you know what, guys, let's calm down. Let's wait for the Democrats to get in office again. And I think that's what she's meaning here, and I agree. Brigitte Gabriel, brilliant lady, go listen to her. She's very knowledgeable. She became quite famous, at least to me, when she was talking about the silent majority in the Muslim world, and what we say, the minority is not that minor. It's actually quite several few hundred millions possibly in the Muslim world. So that's what we say, minorities. And the radical minority in Islam is bigger than most countries that we know. That's not a joke. Now, what we heard her saying about Jolani and about the rebels, I want to share with you what some of my Syrian friends shared with me. And they shared it, discreetly. I can't share their name out of safety. One of them is a guy that I interviewed for a podcast. And he asked me after the podcast to not air the podcast because he is in Europe and the Syrian radical immigrants in Europe still have a grip over the community, and he's just afraid. He says, you know what, Mansour, they're not safe. Europeans are completely ignorant and they don't know what's happening among the Muslim immigrants in Europe. And these guys are just going around doing their own Sharia police. And if that podcast will be aired with what I shared about Islam and Syria, and that was before the war, the rebellion, they'll kill me. So please don't share that. Anyway, I asked him, what do you think? And I shared with him my last video and told him, can you give me some point? And that's what he said. There is no point in waiting, my friend. I know these organizations well. Extremism, fanaticism, and terrorism is their approach, and the reality will be very bad while they are in power. That's a Syrian man who fled Syria and just arrived to Europe not long ago. Imagine that Jabhat al-Nusra, which is basically ISIS, spoiled child, will rule Syria. Imagine that Jolani, Ayman al-Zawahi's spoiled child, is the official spokesman for the current authority in Syria. Imagine that those who personally threaten to kill me because I criticize their actions, question their loyalty, are the ones who will rule Syria. That's what a Syrian man is telling me. Syria has ended a bad reality, but the coming reality will be worse, in my opinion. My opinion of them is still a hateful al-Qaida black group that Syria does not deserve to be at the forefront of. I still hate the President of the Pakistanis, the Uyghurs, the Uzbeks, the Iraqis, the Saudis, and the Yemenis among the ranks of these formations that take the identity of the Syrian revolution as an unreal legitimacy for their existence. In my views, al-Jolani is still a criminal, murderous al-Qaeda member. Jolani and his followers are the ones who prolonged the bloodshed in Syria and the ones who prolonged the life of the regime in Syria. I'm still certain that they are a tool of implementation and not a tool of revolutionary thought. My joy may stem from the hatred of Assad regime and not love for these people, no matter how great their achievements are in the wasted time of Syria's life. Then I asked him, I want to share that, what he told me here in one of my next videos, without a name, is that okay? And he said, you have full authority, brother. This man, a brilliant, very impressive Syrian man, Again, unfortunately, I can't share his identity. Maybe one day when he'll feel safe, we'll share that podcast that I have with him. But when I first met him, when he first approached me and wanted to talk to me, I got introduced by another friend and told me, you might want to talk to this guy. And I got to tell you, I didn't feel very comfortable. He just migrated to Germany, and I was getting death threats, like right, left, and center. And because I'm an Arab, I'm an Israeli Arab, and I'm speaking that I don't hate the Jews, and I actually support Israel, that I actually think Israel is the greatest country for Arabs in the Middle East. And I started speaking against radical Islam, and obviously, the peaceful, violent Muslims around the world that the Western, academia and college students in the U.S. love to support, started threatening me and sending me images of beheaded people and all kind of stuff. So I was hesitant to meet him. But then I said, I'm gonna give it a chance. And I sent him a location to go and meet me, and then just before, like 10 minutes before, I changed the location. That way, he won't have time to prepare a surprise for me. And I was already sitting in the location that I wanted to go. And when he got there, I observed him for more than half an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I just observed him. I looked at him, I walked around. I didn't have the hat. And I wanted to see that everything is not fishy. After a while, I saw that the guy looked, relatively peaceful and not up to no good, and didn't have any people that came to jump me. And then I approached him. He was surprised, and we started talking. I felt good about it, and I invited him to my studio, and we had the podcast. And there he shared with me a lot of these things. So I trust the guy. I trust his opinion, and I trust his wisdom, and that's why I wanted to bring you that, just so you get a better understanding of what's happening in the Middle East. This is not my life calling. I didn't choose to become a vlogger and a podcaster about radical jihadist Islam. I wanted to do a completely different thing. I wanted to do things that are more related to fatherhood, to special forces, to healthy psychology, and etc., and just adventures and things that I've learned through my life. But since the war, I felt the need to start speaking about this because I saw how insane the Western world went following the lies of the victimhood of radical jihad, when they will do the worst thing in the world, but then they'll pretend to be the victims, and then the Western media and Western, feminists and queers for Palestine will go and defend them. You'll have a jihadist saying, death to America, death to Yahud, Allahu Akbar, and then the Western media will say, oh, what he really means is that he feel like he's oppressed. No, I don't feel oppressed, I want to oppress you. Oh, what he really means that he's angry because of George Bush, of what he did. No, if that, I want to kill you and I want to kill all of you, Allahu Akbar. No, what he really means that he really, that he believes in peace and want to live, peacefully, and he supports women. No, I don't support women. Yalla, حلي عالم ورا مجنونة هاي. And that is basically how radical Islam is behaving and how Western media is portraying him. They're just, I think it's a mix of pure stupidity, ignorance, and wicked intentions. Wicked intentions. I think it's a mix of all these things. Some are that, some are more of that, but in general, it's a useful idiot on steroids. And that's why I wanted to bring you guys just to have a better understanding what is happening in the Middle East, what is happening in Syria, and what is Israel going to be facing in the months, maybe years to come. Because again, people will start again getting angry at Israel for doing what they're doing to defend themselves, which is right now securing the border and destroying the Assad army. And soon enough, you're going to start hearing people blaming Israel for all of this, even though Israel was the reason that the rebels were able to have a chance to take down Assad. Thanks to Israel. There's Syrians talking about it and saying, you know what, we should raise flags of Israel over every Syrian house. Everyone who celebrates the taking down of this dictator, not America helped us, not Europe helped us, not the Arabs helped us, none of these rebels were able to do it. Only when Israel stepped in the game and went spagash, spagash, spagam, spagam, started like hitting all these radical dictators around the Middle East and these terrorist supporters, taking them down like no tomorrow, and weakening the grasp of Iran and its proxies in the Middle East. Only then the rebels had a chance, seized the moment, and went, took down Syria. But it does not mean that they're the good guys. They're far from that. You heard what she said. You heard what my friends say. Take it with you and make your own conclusion. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it beneficial. And if you did, feel free to do the whole shebang. Subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. And if you want to find a direct way to support my channel, go and check my Patreon. After all, I am doing this work for free and out of my own free time, and there you can find direct ways to help me keep growing this channel and keep doing these videos for you. But until then, don't do anything stupid. And in general, don't just don't support Muslim jihadists. Just don't. Just stop it. Just wake up, smell the hummus, eat the baklawa and the falafel, and realize that the good things in the Middle East are the food. A lot of the other stuff in the Middle East are very wacko. You have no idea what you're talking about. And if you're living in the West and you want to feel empowered supporting some good cause, then support the rights of the people who are oppressed under Muslim countries. That will put you in a very safe spot. You have no clue about what's happening in Israel. Just keep your mouth shut. Don't talk about it. You have no clue of what's happening between different Sunni and Shia factions. Just zip it, go home, watch Netflix, play PlayStation. But if you want to support something that is, you're going to be 100% right about it, support the oppressed people under Islamic regime. It could be women, it could be the gay community, it could be the Christians, it could be the Jews, it could be the Kurds, it could be minorities. 100% you're going to be probably right there. All the others, you're going to be so easily tricked and fooled, and that is a good advice that I'm giving you. Just came out of my mind. I didn't think about it before. It's a good advice. Take it, guys. It will help you not to make a fool out of yourself like Mr. Armpit Hair here, or a lot of these weird queers for Palestine, or one lookalike feminists who don't care shit about women, who just want to, steam their anger on the world and I don't know what. Weirdos. Because if they cared about women, they would have spoke about the Jewish women who got raped in October 7th. They kept silent. All the Me Too movement and all these yada yada mumbo jumbos. This woke ideology have bankrupted America and just is threatening to bankrupt the West. It's a virus. Anyway, I'm gonna stop steaming up about this. Obviously, you guys can see that I don't agree with that. Stay safe, don't do anything stupid, and in general, don't do anything that I would do. See you next time. Ran out of coffee. You won't believe me, it's 1 a.m. That's what happens when you're a full-time father and you want to be a good father. You know what? Be good fathers. Invest in your family first. I invest in my kid first and in my family first, and I prioritize that. And then I come and I do what I do for you. And then I come and invest in work and etc. Work is important. I 100% agree, and sometimes you need to work more, but don't compromise your family, especially not the golden, beautiful, magical age of 0 to 5. It won't come back. Every day in that age, you experience another miracle. Every day, you get to witness the most advanced, sophisticated creation, machine that this world have had, which is the human body, the human brain, and how it's developing. And you get to be some kind of a programmer in that thing, help tweak it, help create it, make it a more stronger, more robust, more artistic, more kind, more generous, more huggy, fluffy, more brave and strong. All the things that you want your child, your son or your daughter to have, you get to do that. So nothing can compare to that. Nothing. I'm a man who's seen a lot in my life. I've been to many things. I've been to war, I've been to peace. I've lost friends, I've gained friends. I've lost family relatives who died and I had to bury them. And I also helped, I brought a child to the world, not me, his mother, obviously, with all due respect, but I was there. My point is, I cut the cord. My point is that with everything that I've seen in my life and experienced, nothing comes compared to having a child and raising him and building that connection with him, that bond. So even if I have to work until 2, 3, 4 in the morning, which I often do in my videos, that's why my eyes, sometimes you'll see them half sleepy. I'm drinking coffee like no tomorrow, just so I can stay sharp and give you the best content. It's after I prioritize my family. So that is the best advice I can give you. Take it, guys, and see you next time. Stay safe, don't do anything stupid. Yep, that's a good one.